At a wedding full of music and joy, a man collapses without warning. One moment, he's laughing, surrounded by friends and celebration. The next, he crumples to the floor. There's no injury, no visible cause, only a sudden and eerie silence. But his heart hasn't stopped. It's still moving, just out of order. Beneath the surface, something invisible has misfired. A rhythm has broken, because the heart, it turns out, doesn't run like a machine. It moves like a performance. Each beat isn't just a contraction, it's a step in a complex, synchronized dance choreographed by electricity, not emotion. Over 100,000 times a day, your heart pulses without your permission, driven not by conscious thought, but by waves of Einstein charged particles flowing through cells in perfect time. And yet, these signals don't behave like simple switches. They behave like music. They rise and fall with rhythm, harmony, and tempo. Your heart doesn't just beat, it performs. It is, at its core, an electrical symphony. And when one note goes wrong, the entire rhythm can collapse. So what if the key to life isn't just biology, but electricity? What happens when the silent song of the heart loses its tempo? For most of human history, the heart was believed to be the center of the soul, the seat of love, courage, and spirit. Ancient physicians saw it as the throne of emotion, a place where the intangible parts of a person lived and moved. Galen, one of the most influential medical thinkers of the Roman Empire, believed the heartbeat was powered by vital spirits, invisible forces coursing through the body like divine breath. But the truth, as it unfolded over centuries, turned out to be even more extraordinary. In the 18th century, the first real glimpse into the heart's true nature came not from a human, but from a frog. In 1786, Italian scientist Luigi Galvani discovered what he called animal electricity when he observed a frog's leg twitching in response to a metal spark. It was the first clue. Life itself, including the heartbeat, might be driven by electricity. The realization grew slowly. In 1849, German physiologist Carl Ludwig recorded the electrical activity of a beating heart, providing the first hard evidence that the heart wasn't just muscle, it was a living conductor. Then, in 1903, Willem Einthoven invented the electrocardiogram, or ECG, a device that could turn invisible heartbeats into visible waves. For the first time, we could see the rhythm of lifelines rising and falling like music on paper. These discoveries rewrote our understanding of the heart. It wasn't simply pumping blood. It was performing a complex, autonomous choreography, a dance of cells and ions, guided by the invisible pulse of electricity. Today, that understanding is not just scientific curiosity, it's survival. Millions of people wear that monitored their heart rhythm in real time, alerting them to skipped beats or signs of danger. Cardiac arrhythmias, when the heart's rhythm goes out of sync, and kill without warning. Pacemakers and defibrillators, small electrical devices implanted in the chest, have become literal lifesavers, stepping in to restore rhythm when the internal conductor falters. Elite athletes are screened for electrical irregularities in the heart. Premature infants and the elderly alike are vulnerable to misfires in the body's most essential circuit. Every moment, our lives depend not just on blood and muscle, but on the flawless timing of an unseen electrical symphony. And this leads to a deeper realization. The heart is not a passive organ. It is a dancer, self-guided, responsive, alive. It senses stress. It changes rhythm with emotion. It synchronizes with others when we hug, when we sing, when we sit in silence together. The beat you feel in your chest is more than a pulse, it's a language, a performance, and every thought you think, every fear you feel, every joy you carry your heart, answers with a change in tempo, a subtle shift in its electric music. It's one of the most terrifying realities in medicine. A person can be young, healthy, and full of life and, then, in a single moment, collapse without warning, not from trauma, not from illness, but from something far more invisible and immediate. The heart's rhythm simply falls apart. This is sudden cardiac arrest, or SCA. It doesn't mean the heart is weak. It means the electrical system that keeps it beating has misfired so completely that the entire organ falls into chaos. In cases like ventricular fibrillation, the heart doesn't stop, quivers violently, each cell firing out of sync, like a stadium full of people trying to clap at different times. The result is electrical noise, no rhythm, no coordinated contraction, no blood flow. The heart isn't pumping anymore. It's trembling, and within seconds, the brain goes dark. There is no pulse, no warning, and often no second chance. The dilemma is chilling. This isn't something that happens only to the elderly or the ill. It happens to young athletes in peak conditions, football players, swimmers who suddenly collapse mid-game. Their hearts pushed to perform glitch under stress. It happens to healthy infants, sleeping peacefully in cribs, never to wake again, what we now call sudden infant death syndrome, or SIDS. It happens to soldiers whose hearts are flooded with adrenaline in moments of life or death tension, only to cross a line from readiness into fatal rhythm. These aren't hearts that failed to beat, their hearts that lost the pattern. And the deeper we study it, the more we see just how fragile the dance truly is. Every heartbeat depends on a precise flow of iron, sodium, potassium, through channels in heart cells, at exactly the right moment. One misplaced spark, one faulty channel, one tiny genetic mutation, and the rhythm can dissolve in an instant. Stress, dehydration, sleep deprivation, trauma, all can tip the balance. The heart's dance is beautiful, yes, but also dangerous, because it is not just mechanical, it is electrical, and electrical systems, no matter how well built, are always vulnerable to short circuits. So the question becomes not just how the heart beats, but why it sometimes forgets how. Why would a heart that's perfectly strong, perfectly formed, suddenly go silent? Why does the rhythm break even when everything else seems okay? And what does it mean to live with an organ that can dance so gracefully and fall so quickly into chaos? The answer may lie not just in the biology of the heart, but in the deeper mystery of how rhythm, electricity, and life are entangled at the center of your chest. Hidden within the muscle that keeps you alive is a tiny cluster of cells known as the sinoatrial node, the heart's natural pacemaker. This node, no larger than a grain of rice, generates electrical impulses that ripple across the heart in perfect time, telling it when and how to contract. Each impulse begins a wave, flowing like electricity along a path that choreographs the heartbeat from atria to ventricles, from top to bottom, like a tightly timed dance. But if that wave arrives too soon, too late, or gets interrupted, the pattern breaks. The heart stumbles. It may flutter, pause, or race uncontrollably. The music of the body falters and the consequences can be fatal. Yet the rhythm of the heart is not entirely its own. It listens to chemicals, to hormones, to emotion. Fear, love, grief, they don't just live in the mind. They ripple into the body through nerves and neurotransmitters, changing the electrical landscape of the heart in real time. The vagus nerve, for example, can slow the heart with a single signal. A spike of adrenaline can make it race, even push it into arrhythmia. Trauma survivors, in particular, often live with irregular rhythms, moments where the heart lurches, skips, or pounds without warning. But this relationship is not one way. The reverse is also true. When the heart's rhythm becomes chaotic, the brain interprets it as panic. We feel anxious not just about the heart, but because of it. The body and mind are locked in a feedback loop, electrical signals echoing between chest and cortex. Fear feeding rhythm, rhythm feeding fear. This raises complex questions at the edge of ethics and technology. If the heart's rhythm can be influenced by thought, stress, and environment, can we learn to control it, and should we? Devices like pacemakers and defibrillators already step in when the natural rhythm fails. Brain stimulation is being explored as a tool to calm the heart through neural pathways. Some researchers envision a future where people can consciously modify their heart, beat slowing it with meditation, syncing it through neurofeedback, even in training it to music or light. But how far should we go in editing our most ancient rhythm? Should we engineer emotional states by engineering the heartbeat? The implications extend far beyond the clinic. In many parts of the world, access to life-saving devices, like pacemakers, is still limited, making the difference between life and death a matter of geography. Meanwhile, in more technologically saturated societies, consumer heart monitors on smartwatches and phones are creating a new kind of anxiety where false alerts, imperfect data, and constant surveillance lead to a distorted sense of vulnerability. And as heart data becomes a commodity, tech companies are beginning to analyze patterns of rhythm to predict behaviors, moods, even market decisions. Your heartbeat, once private, now speaks to machines. Machines are learning to listen. So, the question emerges, quietly unsettling. If the heart is electrical, if its rhythm can be influenced, interpreted, and altered, who holds the switch? Is it the brain, the machine, the drug, the algorithm? Or is it still something deeper, something emotional, human, even sacred? The heartbeat was once seen as the seat of the soul. Now we know it's a circuit. But maybe the real mystery lies not in the beat itself, but in who or what we allow to control it. For centuries, we believed the heart was merely a servant of the brain, a mechanical organ receiving commands, responding to emotion, reacting to stress. But modern science reveals a stunning twist. The heart has a mind of its own. Embedded within its muscular walls are over 40,000 neurons, an intricate network often referred to as the heart's little brain. These neurons don't just follow instructions from the brain above. They generate impulses, make decisions, and even learn patterns independently. The heart can regulate its own rhythm, adapt to internal changes, and maintain function even when cut off from the central nervous system. In lab settings, an isolated heart will continue to beat with perfect rhythm, as if remembering a dance. It once learned, it doesn't need a conductor. It carries the music within. Nowhere is this autonomy more striking than in heart transplants. A heart, removed from one body and placed into another, often resumes beating before it's even fully connected. It doesn't need memory from the mind, carries memory in its own tissue. Even more astonishing, some transplant recipients report changes that feel deeper than physical. They describe unfamiliar cravings, new emotional reactions, and dreams that seem to carry remnants of another life. While the science is still unfolding, the biological foundation is clear. The heart stores memory like electrical patterns. Its neurons fire in learned rhythms, shaped by years of experience, emotion, and response. These patterns may not be conscious memories, but they are a form of embodied knowledge, written in voltage and muscle. This changes everything. The heart is not simply responding, it is initiating. It sends signals to the brain, influencing emotion, attention, and decision-making. In moments of love or fear, the heart doesn't just reflect what we feel, it helps create the feeling. It shapes our internal world before our mind even has time to interpret it. The rhythm of the heart, it turns out, isn't just a beat. It's a form of intelligence. A quiet, pulsing awareness that guides more than circulation, it guides experience. And so we come to the shocking realization. The heart may not be just a dancer in the body's performance. It may be part choreographer. It remembers how to move. It knows when to race and when to slow, even in the absence of a brain. It carries within it a memory of life, not in words or thoughts, but in rhythm and response. Maybe the heart doesn't just follow our story. Maybe, in its own electric way, it leads. Science now recognizes that the rhythm of the heart is not governed by electricity alone, it is shaped by emotion, perception, and connection. The heart and brain exist in a constant dialogue, exchanging signals through electrochemical pathways that affect not just heartbeat, but mood, memory, and even identity. This heart-brain axis is a two-way street. The brain can trigger the heart to race or calm, but the heart can also influence brain activity, changing the way we feel, think, and respond to the world. This discovery has transformed our understanding of what it means to have a healthy heart. It's not just about physical structure or blood flow. It's about rhythm, responsiveness, and regulation qualities that emerge from both biology and experience. New therapeutic frontiers are beginning to embrace this complexity. Advanced devices now read and correct cardiac timing with millisecond precision, providing real-time feedback to the body. Some pacemakers are equipped with AI algorithms that adapt to emotional state sensing when a person is stressed or relaxed, and adjusting the pacing of the heart accordingly. This is the realm of neurocardiology, a field exploring how deeply entangled the heart is with who we are. Researchers are discovering that arrhythmias can be stabilized not only with hardware, but with practices that harmonize mind and body. Meditation, breathwork, and biofeedback techniques have shown measurable effects on heart rhythm, creating smoother waves, more stable patterns, and greater coherence between brain and heartbeat. In other words, learning to calm the mind may also teach the heart to find its tempo again. But perhaps the most hopeful insight of all is this. People who have lost their rhythm, whether from trauma, illness, or emotional collapse, can find it again, not only through medicine, but through movement, love, and connection. When two people dance together, their hearts can begin to beat in sync. When choirs sing, the members' heart rates often fall into a shared tempo. When we sit with someone in silence, feeling understood, our nervous systems begin to mirror each other. The heart doesn't just respond to electricity, it responds to presence. It is regulated not just by pacemakers and neurons, but by belonging, safety, and shared experience. Healing, then, is not simply about restarting the beat, it is about relearning the dance, finding the rhythm that once held us, and letting it hold us again. It is about remembering that beneath the chaos, the fibrillation, the silence, the heart is still listening for the music. And given the right signals, emotional, Human it can remember how to move. A child, safe and warm, falls asleep against their parent's chest. The room is still. No conversation, no explanation, just the rise and fall of breath, the steady pulse beneath skin. Slowly, their heartbeats begin to sync, to rhythms folding into one. It's not conscious, it's not learned. It's something older, deeper, biological lullaby. In this quiet moment, connection doesn't come through words, but through rhythm. A silent harmony carried in the body. The child doesn't know it, but their heart is listening. And so is the parents. Two lives, two nervous systems, attuned not by thought, but by presence. We often say, listen to your heart, as if it holds answers we can't find in the mind. But perhaps the truth is even more profound. The heart is listening to you. It listens when you're joyful, echoing your excitement in faster, stronger pulses. It listens when you're afraid, tightening, bracing, speeding in response to unspoken fears. It listens when you're grieving, your rhythm faltering in the silence left behind. It doesn't ask questions. It doesn't need reasons. It simply responds. It remembers the shape of safety. It feels the pull of loss. And when the rhythm breaks it, sometimes it does not give up. It simply tries to begin again. Your heart is not a machine. It's not a cold, mechanical pump ticking away, without thought or feeling. It is a living melody, composed in electric pulses and shaped by every experience you've ever felt. It sings in the language of emotion, moving not just blood, but memory. It is your companion from your first moment to your last, silent musician, conducting the background rhythm of your life. And even in the moments when words fail, when thought is clouded, or sleep has taken over, the heart keeps playing as long as it dances. You are alive,